guys, welcome back to the channel. You may remember last time that the mechanicum drove the Tau from their world. However, they heard rumours that the Eldar that had aggravated the assault was still floating about. The infiltrators and rust stalkers have found a camp of Eldar that were defending a homunculus, and he was building something very tasty indeed. So of course, all of those Talos are heretical, and the Dominus has enlisted the help of some Space Marines to help them come and purge the city where the Eldar and Dark Eldar have been hiding out. Today's mission is cleanse and control with 6 objectives. We've got number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, and number 6, just under there. So let's have a quick look at the forces. Right, so in control of the Admech and the Space Marines today is Phil.
Phil!
Welcome, Phil.
Phil!
So, do you want to talk us through your list?
I've got 3 breaches here.
Yeah.
We've got 5 Rangers with a Transchronic Arquebus and an Omnispec. So you just got the Alpha there with no upgrades, but you've got the model like that so we know which one's which.
Yeah.
Got a Land Raider Crusader. At least I think it's called Crusader with bolters. And we've got 5 Rust Stalkers behind them with one with the Mask of the Omnisire.
Ready to jump in there because it's a dedicated transport, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
We've got a 10-man squad of Vanguard inside them ruins right there. All the guys have Omnispecs in there, so they've all got their normal carbines.
Yeah.
Have this big, nice, juicy squad right there. 3 Grav Centurions.
Centurions?
What? What? I mean, no.
Destroyers.
Destroyers. We've got the Dominus, who has Eradication Ray and the Scryer's Skull Relic. We've also got the HQ of the Iron Hand Space Marines. He has Terminator Armor, Storm Bolter, and a Storm Shield. His powers, he obviously got Force because he's got Force Weapon. He's got Prescience, Precognition, and Scryer's Gears.
Nice.
The Warlord trait as well for the Dominus is that I get a roll, the D3 rolls and that on the tactical objective cards.
Yeah.
Then got a very expensive unit right here. 3. Oh my good lord. We got 3 Dune Crawlers. We got 3 Dune Crawlers with neutron lasers. They've also got Cognis Manipulators to give them their Will Not Die in Strength 10, and we'll purchase another Storm Bolter. I mean, Cognis Heavy Stubber to go with it.
Yep.
Very nice unit. We've got 5 Infiltrators there with Fletcher Blasters and Taser Goads.
Okay.
We've got 2 Castellum robots. They have Phosphor blasters on their carapace and fist mounted ones.
Yep.
We have 2 Dragoons with Phosphor Serpenters. We have 5 Scouts with a rocket launcher. We have 5 more Scouts with Camel Cloaks and Sniper Rifles.
And in reserve,
we've got a First Company Task Force with 5 Terminators with Thunderhammers and Storm Shields, 5 Lightning Claws, and 5 Standard Terminators with a Heavy Flamer.
And they're all in Deep Strike Reserve?
Yep.
And which unit are you picking preferred enemy against?
Well, I think we can all just gather which unit I'm picking preferred enemy at, which is this big line of just complete utter meth right there.
Yep. So, let's take you through the Dark Eldar and Eldar forces. The Warlord is the homunculus in the centre of the Dark Artisan. He's got a liquefier gun. The Talos has a liquefier gun and haywire blaster. And his Warlord trait is pain engines get to re-roll a feel no pain of a 1. The Kronos is equipped with a Spirit Probe which grants a 4+ feel no pain to these guys. The Corpse Thief Claw. I've elected not to scout them. So they're all equipped with chain flails. The centre one with the tail pointing forward is equipped with a heat lance. The rest have twin-linked splinter cannons. We've then got a Dark Eldar allied detachment, fast attack. We've got the Venom there, which is going to have 5 Howling Banshees in it from a Aspect Host. So there's an Exarch in there, but beyond that, no other upgrades. We've then got a Cabalite Warrior squad in here, and this Venom with a blaster. Both Venoms are upgraded with dual splinter cannons. We've got in the heavy support slot a Ravager with triple lances, and of course Knight shields. Down here we have the Shadow Seer. Shadow Seer has the Mask of Secrets as an upgrade. She's Mastery level 2, she has Veil of Tears, Mirror of Minds, and Fog of Dreams. So very interesting, and hopefully we can do some damage with it. We've got the Death Jester hiding out there from the Hero's Path as well. We've also got the Solitaire hiding over there. None of them have infiltrated though, as I wanted to make sure to try and get the charge off. The HQ for the Dark Eldar force is going to be riding in this Raider with 3 Grotesques from the Grotesquerie. They have a 4+ Feel No Pain. He's also going to be riding with the Autarch from the Eldar part of the detachment. The Eldar Autarch has a Banshee Mask and a Laser Lance, so that means no Overwatch for Phil. Exactly. In this Raider we've got Urian Rakarth and the other 3 Grotesque. So that finishes off the Dark Eldar detachment. The rest of the Aspect host, we've got the 5 Spiders here with the Exarch, and we've also got in reserve 6 Swooping Hawks with the Exarch on there as well. The Eldar portion of it, you've seen the Autarch. We've then got the Farseer. He has a Singing Spear and of course Jetbike. He has Fortune, Guide and Psychic Shriek. We've then got a Warlock here. The Warlock has Enhanced Drain and Conceal Reveal. He's part of the Windrider squad. They all have Shuriken Cannons. And then second troop choice, we've got a unit of 11 Guardians with a Star Cannon. And there's a Warlock in there as well. The Warlock has Empower Enervate, I think it's called. So yeah, there's going to be lots of psychic shenanigans and lots of leadership modifiers going on with a bit of a punch from these guys, hopefully. So, I've currently got first turn, but I believe Phil wants to try and seize, is that right? No!
Are you not entertained?
Right, so cards for Phil, being the cheesy man he is and stealing the initiative. We've got Destroy, Record, Rejoice. Shoot a unit to death, basically. Prison Machine God needs to use a Canticle of Shroud Psalm or Iron Soul. He's then got behind enemy lines. That one might be difficult. So for Canticles and Doctrines, Canticles he's used Shroud Psalm. He only has 4 units altogether, so he's only going to get shrouded, but he's going to score a point for using that. Doctrine Imperative, he's used +3 ballistic skill. Right, so in the movement phase, the Dragoons flanking round the outside of the monastery here, looking to potentially move up. Maybe take out the Spiders, I'm guessing? Or the Grotesques, who knows? The Rustart, the Infiltrators, moving through the centre of the monastery. They've got the Spiders in their sights. Meanwhile, it looks as though the Castellans are just pushing sideways. The Ruststalkers have jumped in the Land Raider, and the Land Raider's pushed forward 6 inches to get them Talos within range of them Hurricane Bolters. We have done the Psychic phase as well. Phil tried to get Scryer's Gaze and Precognition, was it?
No.
Prescience?
Prescience.
On these guys, but unfortunately he failed both tests. So I think it's going to be a bit of a brutal shooting phase though, especially with those guys targeting them Talos coming over the horizon, the sun high in the sky. Right, so in order to kill a unit, Phil decided to use the quite tasty template of the neutron lasers and dropped it right on the Venom there, clipping the Ravager as well. But thankfully we passed 2 cover saves with the Ravager, and the one that did go through blew off this side Dark Lance, so we're down to 2 Dark Lances on that, which is fine because that can still move me full 12. The Venom here though did unfortunately not pass all of its cover saves and exploded, killing one of the Cabalites inside. The other 2, the rest of the unit, sorry, took fire from the Rangers, just about able to see through the ruins there, as well as the assault cannon from the Land Raider. They are pinned, but they are not running. Meanwhile, the Talos in the middle, we took fire from the Grav, and unfortunately 2 Feel No Pains with the rerolling ones. weren't passed on that guy there, so he's been cut down to 1. So I think he's going to be running at the back of the pack for the moment. They also took fire from the Castellans as well. Meanwhile, over this side, the infiltrators have moved into the cover, running around, probably trying to bide their time on this objective. However, I do need to get rid of them because they've got that nasty auric thing that reduces weapon and ballistic skill and initiative. The Dragoons running around the side here, probably looking to start eating. Maybe it's the Guardians, potentially. The missile launcher from the scout team could just about see the raider through the ruins there, and despite getting a pen, the night shields in the cover protecting it. The spiders, however, have jumped out of the way. The sniper scouts decided to take aim and they jumped 4 inches forward, just getting behind that ruin, preventing the scouts from picking line of sight on them. So, Phil does score Destroy, Record and Rejoice. He scores Praise the Machine God, and he also scores First Blood. He's going to discard behind enemy lines, so that puts the Mechanicum and the Space Marines on 3 points. Right, so Eldar turn 1, we've drew Trophy Hunter, we've drew Fear and Terror, and we've drew Domination. So, the Talos are marching forward. We're going to be doing a lot of shooting over that way. The Dark Artisan slowly corralling his creatures forward into the lines of the Imperium.
You have more monsters creatures than when you play Tyranids.
Yep. The Ravager is pivoted slightly just so he can still get line of fire in across at the Land Raider there with his 2 remaining Lancers. The Venom on the outskirts with the Banshees in, looking, they're not going to make it there this turn, probably not. Hopefully we can get there next turn. The Wind Riders and the Warlock and the Farseer pushing forward as well. We'll be unloading the Shuriken cannons, probably into the Rangers, potentially the Librarian if we can get some Wrens in. Urian and 3 Grotesques have jumped out, and yeah, hopefully we can do some damage to the infiltrators here. The Warp Spiders, 6 inches forward, looking to potentially start eating away at the infiltrators, or possibly the Dune Crawlers here. This Raider just pushing forward 12 inches, and the Solitaire running alongside as fast as he is.
It's only a Solitaire, I mean, what worse he can do?
You have no idea.
What?
Anyway, Guardians pushed forward, looking to hopefully support in taking out the Rust Stalkers hiding in the building.
We will hold and hold.
Yep. Meanwhile, down here, Shadow Seer and the Death Jester have pushed forward. The Psychic phase I thought was going to be brilliant. So the first thing, the Shadow Seer used Fog of Dreams on these guys, which is a malediction, forcing them to snap shoot. So yeah, that was brilliant. That went off, she perilled and went Super Saiyan. However, the Farseer here then tried to cast Fortune on the Corpse Thief, and I got it off with 2, and I used my reroll to get the 2, but Phil managed to actually stop it. As a result, I then cast Psychic Shriek at these guys here. And bearing in mind they'd be at -1 for the -1 leadership for the Grotesquerie, further -1 for the Corpse Thief, and -2 for the Shadow Seer there. And I rolled a 1 to hit. Fantastic, yeah? So yeah, the rest of the Psychic phase wasn't too useful. However, I'm thinking we can do some damage with the shooting. Right, so in the shooting phase it seemed that the March and Talos, the rain and splinter fire coming in, managed to drive the breaches away. Phil getting 2 up cover save here due to Shrouded as well. And unfortunately he rolled 2 1s and his leadership, he failed and they scurried off the edge of the board. The Rangers here took fire from the Venom with the Banshees in. Unfortunately, Phil passing all of his saves, only getting 2 wounds altogether. The Ravager there in the distance and the Talos from the Dark Artisan with the Haywire Cannon managed to get a single glancing pen on the Land Raider. Unfortunately though, we only managed to shake it. The Death Jester hanging out on the balcony over there took aim at the vanguard and managed to blow 2 of them apart with his Shrieker cannon, and luckily they passed their leadership despite the -2 modifier. The Terminator Librarian here shrugged off wounds that were thrown at him by the Wind Riders, and the assault jumped back. Meanwhile, here in the centre, the monastery has been cleared of infiltrators by the Warp Spiders. Despite the -1 ballistic skill, we managed to insta-kill 2 of them, and then they've ran due to being quite a big negative modifier of leadership. There's 3 of them remaining, but we did manage to kill the character that was in there. I haven't touched the Data Smith, which is the character the film nominated me to try and kill, and I'm not going to get the objective marker on the Land Raider, unfortunately. So the only other thing left to do, the Guardians battle focused forward. I was hoping to get them within range of the scouts back here, but unfortunately didn't quite get enough good enough run despite fleet. And the disintegrator cannon from the Raider managed to kill 1 scout. The Star Cannon meanwhile putting a single penetrating hit on this lead Dragoon. The Solitaire then charged in, and with his Caress managed to get a single glance on that one. In return though, he actually took 4 wounds. Those, what are the Tesla things? Taser Lancers. Phil rolled a 6, scoring 4 hits and 4 wounds. And I failed 2 of my saves, so that wasn't good at all. I think I might have a problem now.
You're just there standing there getting tasered, and you're just like...
He's the Solitaire, he shouldn't be doing that. So anyway, yeah, that was pretty much it. The bikers there obviously assault jumping back, so the only point I score is fear and terror. I'm going to discard domination. Right, so mechanic in turn 2, Phil has drawn no prisoners, overwhelming firepower, and assassinate. I'm guessing he's probably going to get these. For Canticles, he's used Benediction of the Omniscience, which allows him to reroll shooting attacks of a 1 due to only having 3 units left, and he's used +1 weapon skill for Doctrine Imperative. So movement phase, the scouts are pushing forward probably to help support and take out the
Solitaire.
That's it. Yep, the Solitaire. Down here, the Castellan have pushed sideways, looking to potentially start eating into either the Talos or the bikers, I reckon. The Vanguard are also shuffling forward. Down here, the Land Raider moving forward, and Phil rolled a 1. It's now immobilised. However, the Rust Stalkers have jumped out, and they want a piece of the Banshees. That's going to be interesting indeed. So yeah, that was it for the movement phase. In the psychic phase, Phil rolled a 1, and he tried to get prescience off on this squad here. Unfortunately, he didn't get any warp charges at all. Reserve rolls though, only 2 Terminator squads have came in, so the Tacticals have landed back here. Phil was trying to get the Heavy Flamer over onto the Banshees. That AP4 would have made quite a bit of nasty work on them, so instead he's going to target the Ravager down here. Meanwhile, way across the other end on the battlefield, the Lightning Claw Terminator's got a direct hit in the ruins, looking to probably eat into the Guardians next turn. Right, so it's been a very, very productive turn of shooting for Phil. The Rust Stalkers here chucked a Mind Scrambler grenade, managed to get a pen on the Venom, blow one of the splinter cannons off, and then the carbines from them managed to blow the Venom sky high. The Banshees diving backwards out of the way, trying to hopefully avoid the charge of the Rust Stalkers. We'll have to see what damage is done though. Down here, the Stormbolters and the Heavy Flamer did no damage to the Ravager, but the Heavy Flamer also managed to get rid of the 2 Cabalites down there. Brutal stuff. Right, and then over here the Castellan saw the Death Jester perched up there and managed to kill him. Got 6 wounds, 7 wounds through?
Yeah, 6, something like that.
And I passed every single save until the last one, and I rolled a 1. So the Death Jester has been splattered against that door that he was hiding behind. Meanwhile, the Grav Guns, re-rolling the 1s, took care of the majority of the bikers here. I tried to look out off the Warlock. The Warlock was still alive, but the Eradication Ray from the Dominus went straight through his armour, leaving the Farseer standing by himself. The heavy stubbers snap firing from the onagers didn't cause any wounds either. And over this side, the infiltrators took aim at Urian, but unfortunately no damage was done. The snipers down here took aim at the Eldar Guardians and managed to pop one of the helmets of them off.
Trying to go for that third character.
Yeah, Phil's killed 2 characters. I'm guessing he's probably going to get the third any minute. So that was it for shooting. Quite eventful for him indeed. Let's see what he does in the assault phase. Right, so that first round of combat down here with the Rustalkers was all important. We managed to actually get a wound in on Overwatch with the Shuriken pistols. The Exarch challenged the Princeps and unfortunately didn't manage to wound him. However, the Princeps swung and the Cord Core inflicted a wound on the Exarch. Despite her getting hits back, like I said, she failed to wound. The Banshees dancing around her meanwhile managed to get 3 wounds through, the power swords cutting straight through the armour, and Phil failing a couple of feel no pains there as well. Meanwhile, the remaining 2 Rustalkers hacked apart 2 of the Banshees, each inflicting 3 wounds, but he has Zealot anyway. So that is a tied combat down here. Meanwhile, at this side, the Scouts decided to charge in to help the Dragoon out, and it was very tight. Did I go for the Scout or did I try and kill the Dragoon? And I went for the Dragoon, luckily getting 2 glances on it with the Rose and the Caress. The Scout's then only hitting back on 5s, and despite Phil chucking quite a lot of attacks in, only getting 1 hit and failing to wound. So Phil unfortunately doesn't quite kill his 3rd character. Right, so Phil killed 4 units for no prisoners and 4 units for overwhelming firepower, which means he gets 2d3, plus he gets the reroll. So do you want to roll them too?
No prisoners? I'm mostly going to re-roll that. Getting 3, and then overwhelming firepower, I'm going to keep that. So.
Cool, so that's 5 points plus 1 for killing 2 characters, not quite getting that 3rd character like I said. So that gets Phil, what's that, 5, 6 points that turn?
On my extra 3, so I'm up to 9 points.
Wow, 9 points after turn 2. Let's check out the Eldar turn 2. Right, so I've still got Trophy Hunter, take them alive, kill something in the assault phase, and secure objective number 2. So the Guardians at this side are pulling sideways. They're going to end up battle focusing and hopefully take out the Terminators with that mass Shuriken fire. The Warp Spiders, I didn't quite know what to do with them, so they're going to come over this way and support in taking out the Scouts, keeping the Solitaire alive, so hopefully he can run amok along the lines. This raider jumped over the ruins, and the Archon, the Autarch and the Grotesques have jumped out. I know there's no character left in this squad here, but I'm going to hopefully try and catapult them over into these lines for next turn. Hopefully start doing some damage indeed. The Grotesques here, unfortunately, only got a 2-inch move through cover. It's not what I wanted. I wanted them to come over for the Castellans to start eating away at them. But never mind. The Farseer taking command, pushing forward into the centre, hopefully get some Psychic Shriek off. Unfortunately, I'm not within range to do much damage to the Castellans. I'm only going to be able to get a -1 leadership on them. The Shadow Sea is just a little bit too far out the way. The Ravager pulled sideways. Hopefully, either the Haywire Cannon from Talos here or the Lancers would be able to get rid and destroy the Land Raider there. The Talos have come this way, looking to help rescue the Banshees, get me a victory point for killing something in the assault phase, as well as the fact that they score a victory point if they kill a non-vehicle unit in the assault phase. The Hawks, meanwhile, landing here, dropping the grenade pack onto these guys down here, only killing 2 of the Vanguard. They are going to be able to kill, hopefully, some of these Rangers here, and potentially secure me this objective. So yeah, we're just in the middle of the Psychic phase, and typical that I only have these guys at -1 leadership due to the grotesquerie. The Mask of Secrets and the Archon, unfortunately, just a little bit far away, but I've just rolled that for Psychic Shriek on those guys. So we'll work that out in a few moments. But the only other thing that happened in the Psychic phase is we managed to get Fortune off on the Dark Artisan, so they're going to get to reroll saving throws, and we managed to get Fog of Dreams on the Onagers yet again. so they are going to be snap firing again. Right, so here's a predicament. I got 7 wounds through on the Castellan, which means he's lost a wound. The Farseer is 12.5 inches away, so he can't fire his shuriken catapult. And I was toying with putting the spiders there previously, but because I thought, oh yeah, he's just going to look out, sir, I never expected to get a roll like that at all. So I don't know what to do. I'm thinking, if the Talos here can glance this with his haywire cannon, is it worth targeting him with the lancers down here? I can just about see him. I haven't really got anything else to do other than we can see him through the doorway there.
It's going to be an epic. It's going to be like,
yeah. So, do I shoot the Archon and the Autarch at him? But then I'm not charging the Ruststalkers. But
interesting.
But I was going to charge these grotesques at the Castellan anyway, so I could technically charge them at the infiltrators that are just there. Yeah. Let us know what you would do. Leave it in the comments. And let's see how this pans out. Oh my word, how can we not film this? So basically I battle focused the Guardians and shot the Terminators. That was me to hit roll. And then the 2 5s, sorry, the 3 5s, the 6 and the 3 that you see there in red is the wounds. The 3 being from the Star Cannon. Phil's just, I just told Phil, yeah, take the 4 2-ups first.
I want to kill myself right now. Iron hands though, so.
You dare, you dare!
666. 1 smash. Oh, okay. And I'm at AP 2-1. 6 up.
Nope, so 3 died. So in the end, it was the Ravager's gunners that brought the Datasmith crashing to the ground, splattering him on the visor of the Onager. Wow, last thing to shoot. So, as you saw, the Guardians made a little bit of mincemeat of these guys. They need a leadership check.
Yep.
Do you want to roll it now?
Yep, leadership 9, I'm assuming.
Because the Terminators, yeah.
This guy did it. Oh, no, good.
Down here, the Raider shot into the infiltrators and unfortunately did no damage. The Archon and the Autarch took aim at the Datasmith through the window, but unfortunately did no damage. And the reason I chose to do that before firing the Ravager was because the Ravager would have been able to get a couple of shots in on the Onagers otherwise. These guys are going to charge the infiltrators and hopefully bring them down. The Land Raider was wrecked thanks to the Haywire Blaster on the Talos. 4 of these guys were cut down from the battle focusing Swooping Hawks there, from the Las Blasters, and he's blind, but does he run?
No.
No, he doesn't, so he stays, which means I do control that objective. So yeah, not too bad of a turn at all. Assaults, I've got these guys to charge in over here, and then we're going to charge the Spiders in to help the Solitaire as well. So yeah, combats, as you can see, the Banshees have gone. The Princeps alone managed to cut through all 3 of them, and then the remaining 2 managed to get a single wound on the Talos, but we managed to pass the Feel No Pain. One of the Ruststalkers taking a wound to the Banshee's Power Sword. So the Talos have come hurtling in, and with 5 attacks each, that's 25 on the charge. Bearing in mind he's at weapon skill 5 at the minute. There's my to hit roll. So that's what, 6, 7 hits out of 25? Yeah. What the fuck? Right, so in the rest of the combat down here, the Talos smushed the Ruststalkers into the ground, doubling them out, denying them their Feel No Pain. So they've consolidated back just far enough to be within that 6-inch range of the Dark Artisan. But I think we're going to be coming for the Terminators next turn. Score me another victory point for killing something in close combat. Meanwhile, I do score this objective here, which is what Phil nominated for me to hold. In combats down here, these guys charged in at the Ruststalkers, infiltrators. We only did 1 wound. There was a lot of stuff to work out. We had to do a Fiat check, and he was actually at -5 leadership due to Freakish Spectacle, Armour of Misery, and Mask of Secrets, but +1 for his doctrine. And yeah, we managed to lose a grotesque, unfortunately, due to not having assault grenades. He managed to cut through, getting quite a lot of hits with the taser gourd. +2 strength, making nasty wounds on those toughness 5 grotesque as well. Urian even took a wound to Overwatch. He's down to 1 wound. I don't think I've lost Urian before. So yeah, that's not going to be pretty at all. Meanwhile, over this side, as I expected, the Solitaire made mincemeat of most of the scouts, and the Spiders helping him out to kill the remaining rocket launcher scout. Unfortunately, both getting very poor consolidation moves indeed. I do also score objective 2, which is the other card that I have, and we killed the Data Smith, so that scores me 2 points for Trophy Hunter. I get Take Them Alive and secure objective 2, plus an additional 1 for the Talos' rules, scoring me another victory point. Alright, so Mechanicum turn 3, Phil has drawn Ascendancy, Supremacy, and Kingslayer. Kingslayer's going to be hard for him to get, but I think I know exactly what he's going to be doing. Ascendancy and Supremacy needs to control more objective markers than me. I think he might do it if he's quite lucky. So, Doctrine Imperatives, he's used +3 weapon skill. And he's doing it because these guys, now that they're not firing, are going to be shooting and charging at these. Heavy Stub is in and then charge straight through the ruins. So yeah, that's going to be tasty indeed. The scouts here, 6 inches to the bottom, they're going to look to probably run onto this objective. And if Phil can kill them, bearing in mind he'll be doubling the grotesque scout with strength 10, he's going to control that one. If he can chase the hawks off here, he's going to be controlling that one with the ranger as well. So he hasn't got a bad plan at all. Meanwhile, the Terminator's back in the back lines there, have run away from the Guardians, or so they think, and they're going to score that one. So I reckon Phil can probably pull this off and get quite a lot of points, bearing in mind that they are D3 and he can re-roll them. Alright, so in the psychic phase, Phil managed to get off prescience on the grav down here, and he unloaded it into the corpse thief. He got 10 wounds, and out of those 10, I passed 6 5-up cover saves, and then made 2 feel no pains re-rolling the 1s. So that Heat Lance 1 is on 1 wound, as is the one behind there as well. I think if I'd put Fortune on them, they probably wouldn't have taken as much damage, but then I think Phil would have probably gone for the Dark Artisan instead. So yeah, brutal stuff. The Hawks here took fire from the Vanguard in the building and lost 2 of their number, and then failed the morale check and have run back, which means I can't assault them guys next turn, which isn't going to be nice at all. Over that way though, the Terminators failed to do any damage to the Corpse Thief, and if Phil charges, I think, I don't know, we'll have to see what the Corpse Thief is made of against some other combat units. Meanwhile down here, the Scouts only got a 1-inch run unfortunately, so Phil's elected to leave them behind the cover, so he's not going to score this objective, which means the only other thing he's got to do is just charge here, and I'm hoping to God he doesn't make a, what was it, a 9-inch?
It's an 8-inch, that moved him closer.
Yeah, but he can't see.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah!
No! I might as well remove that unit pretty much now, because yeah, I can't hurt it. Right, so in combats down here I had a plan. Look out, sir, all of the Cognos Manipulator attacks onto the grots to insta-kill them, which meant I wouldn't be fearless, and then, as expected, failed my morale check, and Skythorn and Starbane are running yet again. Yep, seems like they always want to run away, so hopefully they'll rally next turn. Combats down here, Phil failed his fear test again, which reduced him down to weapon skill 1, and thankfully, because we were hitting on 3s, we managed to kill 1 of the Rustalkers, infiltrators, and they've ran due to being -5 leadership due to doing 2 wounds, -1 for Freakish Spectacle, and -2 for the Mask of Secrets down there. So not a bad round for Phil. Let's have a look at what he's got. I control this objective here. He controls this one. This one is contested, The one over here is controlled by Phil as well. So he actually controls 2 to my 1. So he does score supremacy, and he's rolled a 2 for it. Do you want to re-roll?
We'll put me to 11, you're on 6. I'll be greedy. Risks? 2.
Fair enough. And you
I will discard Kingslayer though.
Cool, no problem. So, it's looking grim for the Eldar. Can they bring it back? Let's have a look at turn 3. Right, so Eldar turn 3.
What the fuck? Dark Angels are heretics!
Phil totally hasn't just read anything about the Wolfen. So, Eldar turn 3, we drew secure objective 4, which is going to be difficult considering the onagers are on it. Secure objective 2, which the Ravager currently holds, and overwhelming firepower. I don't know. Right, so luckily the Hawks have rallied, and hopefully they can kill the Alpha down there for overwhelming firepower. Hopefully. Meanwhile, across here, Talos just staying where they are. They're going to be charging in to the Terminators and doing some nasty work on them, hopefully. Meanwhile, over this side, the Shadow Seer is pushing forward, as is the Grotesquerie. Hopefully, we can Psychic Shriek some of these guys out of existence. We'll have to see though. The Warp Spider's got an amazing flicker jump, jumping 18 inches straight behind the Onagers. I'm hoping that they can do quite a bit of damage to them. And the Ravager can see through the ruins, as can the Haywire Blaster from the Talos. Meanwhile, over this side, these guys will hopefully get me overwhelming firepower as well, taking out the 2 Terminators. Meanwhile, down here, the Solitaire has sighted the scouts. He knows that they're going to be an annoyance and a threat to the objectives, and he's blitzed and he's going to take them out. One of the scouts already turning to run. So it looks as though there is devastation along the lines of both the Eldar and the Mechanicum. Who is going to prevail though? We shall see. So with that, we move into the Psychic phase. The Shadow Seer and the Far Seer look at each other and they know the Librarian and the Dominus need to go. So we've just done Psychic Shriek. I managed to roll an 11. Phil is at -3 leadership. And yeah, Phil passed all 6 of his 3-up runs with that Terminator Librarian there. However, Phil has used all of his dice. And I've still got 7 left. So I am going to use Mirror of Minds.
I don't know what that does.
It's fun if it goes off.
Doesn't sound fun.
Bearing in mind I've killed a Wraith Knight with this.
Right.
I'm going to target that unit.
Why?
Well, it goes off
Perils.
on 2, but I do peril. What's a 4?
That does an instant wound.
Right, so she takes a wound. However, I don't get to focus her on your Dominus, because it's a focus Witchfire and I only got off twice. It's warp charge 2. Do I hit? I do. So Phil, let's come around here actually. So what we do, yeah, see I told you I don't want him around. So what we do is we each add our respective leaderships to a dice roll.
Right.
And if I equal or beat you, then you have to take a wound. Then you take a wound with only invuns allowed. Bearing in mind the minimum I can roll is an 11. So, first time, I roll an 11. So you take a wound, take an armor save with that, please. Yep. And again. So take another invuln.
I know how this is gonna go.
Wait. Because you're at -3 leadership. That puts you at 13, that puts me at 14.
I'm fine.
I'm still better than you. Take it in, Von.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm fine. How long is this going for?
You stopped it.
That's right. You said it was scary. I thought you were going to.
It is scary, but
I thought you were going to be like, all the. It's like scary because all like demons appear on film. So it's scary. That's what.
It is scary because, like, if I'm getting that on your Dominus there with 3 warp charge, yeah, he'd have gone. You were just lucky that I didn't have it as a -5.
You're lucky.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
So yeah, shame that never worked, but at least I was forcing them to take saves. So let's move into the shooting phase. Right, so as expected in the shooting phase, the Guardians managed to get 5 rends through on the Terminators. Phil only actually failing 2, but they're not passing any feel no pains. Meanwhile, the Ravager and the Talos took aim at the side armour of the Onagers and no damage was done. The Spiders, despite hitting with everything, got 2 glances and a pen, and Phil only failed to save on 1 of the glances. Nasty stuff indeed. They've proven very resilient. The Hawks meanwhile snap-fired over at the Lone Ranger. Get it?
Ah ha ha! That was so funny, Harry.
Yeah. So yeah, nothing done there unfortunately. But the Talos here, the Heatlands and the Splinter Cannons, cutting 2 Terminators down. They have passed the leadership, but the Talos will be charging in. So as I expected down here, the Talos tore through the Terminators, getting 21 wounds thanks to chain flails. Yeah, that was brutal stuff. So they will score me an additional victory point for killing them in the assault phase as well. Alright, so on an absolute whim I decided to charge the 2 remaining Grotesque and Urian at the Infiltrators. Phil failed his fear test again thanks to the -3 leadership shenanigans due to the Shadow Seer just down there. And we managed to do 2 wounds, Phil in turn only doing 1. And he was at -4 leadership due to the modifiers and taking a wound. And unfortunately, he was cut down by Urian's initiative 5. So they've consolidated, looking hopefully to start tying these guys up. These ones are going to be a nuisance though. So yeah, I haven't got Fortune off, and unfortunately, those guys are still going to be firing this turn. Not good at all. However, the Solitaire ran amok and played about with the scouts, killing all 5 of them, thanks to the Caress and the Kiss. So he's consolidated just behind the ruins, laying in wait to potentially come across here. It's going to take him a turn or 2 to get there though, but I think he can make it. So let's have a look at the point. So I score overwhelming firepower, puts me at 7 points. A secure objective 2 puts me at 8, and the Talos killing the Terminators puts me at 9, and I'm going to discard objective 4. So Admech turn 4, Phil has drew Ascendancy, secure objective 2, psychological warfare. For Canticles, he's used Invocation of Machine Might, which gives him +1 strength at this point, and he's also used +1 ballistic skill. So Terminators have finally landed, but they've scattered all the way back from the objective back here. The rest of the movement that Phil has done is the Vanguard have jumped out of the ruins, looking to potentially get rid of this Grotesque here. We then moved into the Psychic phase, and Phil has cast, was it Prescience, and I managed to stop it with 3 dice, rolling 3 6s all together. He's then used Scryer's Gaze. So you're going to discard objective 2, you said, because the Ravager's on it?
Get rid of objective 2.
And what do you draw?
The Gimp Hunter.
Kill a vehicle. That's not going to be hard for you. So yeah, let's see what happens. Alright, so in the shooting phase, the Terminators have ran onto this objective. Down here, Phil elected to shoot the Heavy Stubbers, or the Phosphor Stubbers, into... not Phosphor... oh, Cognus Stubbers, into the Raider, and managed to get 1 hull point on it. Charged in, and then wrecked it to get him Big Game Hunter, and he's going to secure that objective as well. Meanwhile, down here, the Vanguard shot in and did 2 wounds on that lead Grotesque. Last turn, both Urian and the Grotesque got their wounds back due to It Will Not Die. Meanwhile, down here, Phil does score this objective as well, and he elected to shoot the Ranger into the Farseer, not doing any damage at all, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the Grav took aim at the Talos from the Dark Artisan and managed to get a single wound through. Then Feel No Pain's rerolling ones, proving to be very, very useful indeed. So that's it for Phil's turn. He does score Ascendancy for D3 and he scores Big Game Hunter for 1.
I'm going to reroll that for 2.
2, that's 13, that's 14 points you're on to my 9.
Yeah.
Psychological Warfare, you keeping it?
Nope, discarding.
No problem. Let's move into Eldar, turn 4. Right, so I've drew Objective 6, Objective 3, and Death by 1,000 Cuts. So let's see what we can do. Death by 1,000 Cuts, we need to remove a model from at least 3 different units, potentially 5. So the Guardians are pushing around this way, looking, despite the wreckages of the Dragoons being the way, to potentially battle focus into line of fire of the Terminators and help cut them down, ready for the Solitaire to charge in. The Disintegrator Cannon from the Ravager, Raider even, is going to be going for them as well. The Solitaire, I'm going to pop him out of the ruins in just a second. I haven't moved him quite yet. The Hawks coming in, ready to charge these guys. Hopefully we can get at least a couple of more glances on them in combined fire from the Warp Spiders there as well. The Ravager and the Talos also going to be supporting it. Meanwhile, the Corpse Thief Claw, I've moved them around. I'm still going to be scoring this objective here, and I'm hoping that the sheer amount of splinter fire coming in will be enough to deal with these guys up here. Down there though, I'm going to move the Grotesques, put the other one at the front to absorb the Overwatch and charge in, whilst the Farseer is going to be doing some work down here on this guy. Right, so in the movement phase, the Shadow Seer jumped up onto a perch in there with clear line of fire from Mirror of Minds, and I'm getting it off on all but 2 of my dice. I've still got 1 left, just in case. So Phil, I have hit. We rolled the hit. The Shadow Seer has hit. I believe you leadership 9 for the Dominus?
Yeah, so I'll be down to leadership 6. Yeah, I'll be down to leadership 6.
Hang on, so leadership 6. You can only beat me if I roll a 1 and you roll a 6.
Yeah.
Right, so I might as well just roll and you roll your invuns. So, rolling invun.
Do I get Feel No Pain?
You do.
No, it's 1 wound. No, because I can't stop it, but I feel my invul, feel no pain, means I'm down to 1 wound.
Oh!
Come on, 6. No.
Oh, so that's equal to, so the rule does state that you continue rolling, so you need to take an invun for that.
Pass.
5, so you can't stop it.
Nope, and Feel No Pain. Nope, so he's dead.
And there we go. That is how Lethal Mirror Minds it. So the fact he was leadership 9, reduced by 1 because of Freakish Spectacle, reduced by 2 because of the Mask of Secrets, brought him down to leadership 6. If the Archon down here had been a little bit closer, I'd have had him at -5 and he wouldn't have been able to beat us at all, which would have been instant remove. So because it's a focus witch fire and I got it off a more warp charge than it's worth, meant that I could go for him. So that does score me Slay the Warlord, I believe?
Yes.
Cool. That last dice that I mentioned is going to be Psychic Shriek at these units from the Farseer. So I get it.
And it's
And it's stopped. Cool. So let's move on to shooting. Right, so the Battle Focus and Guardians got 3 within range, and the Star Cannon and Phil managed to pass all of his 3 up invuns. Unfortunately though, it was shots from the Disintegrator Cannon on the Raider that has done the damage and caused one of the Terminators to fall. The Solitaire meanwhile is going to be going after the Terminators. He will be charging in, he will tear some armour apart. However, this happened. Yeah, in fairness, I didn't expect this either. The Spiders got 3 glances and 2 pens. The pens being AP1, blew up the first one, and then managed to wreck the next one and inflict another hull point on the last one here. The Sun Rifle from the Exarch managed to actually hit, and Phil failed his initiative test, so he's even at weapon skill 1. Chucked a haywire grenade and did no damage. And from this side, Even the Dark Lancers and the Haywire Blaster from the Talos had a piece, but unfortunately no damage was done. Down this side, the Singing Spear from the Farseer cut the Lone Ranger down to the ground. However, firing from the Talos up into the ruins there, 24 shots, 23 hits.
You had a really good rolling.
I did.
Had really bad rolling.
I did. Phil had really bad rolling indeed, and unfortunately, all of the destroyers and the Terminator armour of the library unfortunately didn't hold up. We even used the Casket of Flenzen from Urian, and I rolled a 3 on 2d6 and didn't inflict any wounds at all. So, a punishing turn for the Eldar there, but we've got some assaults to make. I think the Hawks are going to be charging in. The Solitaire's going to be charging in, and the Grotesques are going to be charging in. So down here, the Grotesques getting Rampage, and we managed to, well, Phil challenged and Urian accepted, and between all of them, including the extra 2d3 for Rampage each on the Grotesques, we did manage to get rid of the Vanguard. Unfortunately, that lead Grotesque did take 2 wounds to Overwatch, so it's a good job I switched them round the opposite way. We've done the It Will Not Dies and nobody's getting any wounds back. Meanwhile, in combat down there, I did lose 1 of the Swooping Hawks, but unfortunately I actually only got 1 hit out of 4. So luckily I did manage to get a single glance on the Walker. And down here, the Solitaire came in, the Sergeant challenged, and he drove his Harlequin's Kiss straight through his heart. He is tied up. I've elected not to hit and run, so let's have a look at the points. So down here I do secure objective 3, and the Farseer secures objective 6, and I did kill models from at least 3 different units, scoring me 3 more points, putting me at 12 to Phil's 14, was it?
Yep.
So Phil doesn't have too much left, but I'm still trailing on points. Let's see what happens in turn 5. Alright, so with just turn 5 left, can Phil hold on to his lead? Can these guys take the Solitaire out? Can he take the Hawks out? We'll have to see, but he has drew Reclaim Lost Knowledge, which is gonna be what gets him that extra point. He's also got Secure Objective 3 and 6, which are the 2 that I'm currently sat on, so it's all down to whether he can do these 2 combats. So let's see where he does. This one's going first, the Solitaire is up. Right, so down here, in combat we managed to get a single glance on the Onager, due to Phil increasing his ballistic weapon skill by 2. Unfortunately failed his 6-up invuln, so the Hawks have come sideways. In combats down here though, Terminators didn't hit, and the Solitaire failed to wound altogether. So Phil didn't score Reclaiming Lost Knowledge unfortunately, but he's elected to get rid of 6, which means, as it stands, I am 2 points behind going into the bottom of turn 5, but I'm going to get Linebreaker. So I need to score at least 2 points in my turn to win. Let's have a look at my cards. So I've drew a Pain in all of its forms, kill a unit. I've got to kill them Terminators this turn. Secure Objective 6, the Talos are on, so that will get me that. And Assassinate, well, there's no characters left because I've already killed his Sergeant in the challenge. So it's basically, can I kill the Terminators or not? So yeah, I accidentally, in the absolute sheer excitement of this, forgot to hit and run the Solitaire out. That would have get me the extra attack and the +1 strength charging back in. However, as you can see, the Solitaire, despite being a lonely person, yep, does have support from the Aspect Warriors and the Guardians herding over the barricades in the distance. So, the Guardians are going to charge in, the Hawks and the Spiders are all going to charge, but do the Guardians make it? They've got Fleet.
Emperor protect us!
That's probably
Emperor
still not
protects!
going to make it. So yeah, these are all going to charge in. Let's work this out. So it's down to the wire now. Basically, the Solitaire managed to get 2 wounds through, but Phil passed both 3-up invuns. Yeah, and then so we've done the Spiders and the Hawks attacking, and they actually got 5 wounds through, and Phil's just rolled that. However, Iron Hands, 6-up, feel no pain. Come on, Phil. We need 1 6.
Emperor, we protect. Oh, shoot. Emperor, we protect. No!
Wow.
Look,
Wow.
Jesus, I live.
Wow, what an absolute blinder of a game. Down to the very last combat of the 5th turn. Wow. If I'm honest, I was terrified of them onagers, Phil. I thought I had very little to deal with them, but the spiders doing what they did in that one turn was phenomenal. Otherwise, I'd have been absolutely screwed. Question though, what do you think of that?
There. It's alright. You wasted a lot of points going into them, I think.
Definitely 600 odd points there.
But anything they touched, they'll essentially kill. Got good saves, especially with the Dark Artisan behind it as well. Just it's a big point sink for something that probably won't die unless someone brings D.
Yeah,
but they did really good. I mean, like nothing could really touch it in combat. Nothing could, couldn't get a lot of shots off there because you have to dedicate your entire army essentially, and that might even kill them all. So definitely a tough unit.
I mean, the Dark Artisan and the Corpse Thief between them's coming in at almost 1,000 points.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Like I wanted to bring the Avatar and stuff as well, and I found that I just, even though it's a 3,000 point game, I literally could not get everything that I wanted in the list. Like my anti-tank is seriously lacking.
Yeah, I was testing out a lot with bringing Marines allies. I think the Land Raider worked really well for the Restalkers, I guess.
Yeah, just one thing to note as well. I didn't realise Phil's actually bought it as a heavy support choice rather than the dedicated transport. So yeah. That was interesting.
I did a lot of points thinking into the shits and giggles formation that was the Terminators.
Yeah, that was.
I do think not to bring Terminators if I was going to bring them with Admech now. The Infiltrators, just every time I use them, do the best for the best of the best.
Do you know what? They were so tough to get rid of.
They're just so good, and I really like them. The Restalkers didn't do amazingly well.
But in fairness, I think if there'd been other stuff there instead of the Corpse Thief, they would have done a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, because they did take out the Banshees.
They did. So I think if you'd ran them in combination with the Infiltrators.
But the Infiltrators did really good, so I'm definitely planning on getting loads of them. What else did good? The Grav did not as good as I want it to be. And I know the Grav is generally a good thing, but I think maybe the one thing to make, because it does sound really good on paper, is that there needed to be more in the unit. And the Breaches did nothing at all in the games. I didn't get really test them out pretty well.
That was unfortunate about the Breaches running away. I think the Grav, can you run them in units of 6?
You can run them in units of 9. So
yeah, that's going to stick them behind an Aegis and then give them a Librarian as well.
Yeah, I think something that could make them better is if I took a White Scars and took in the Hunter's Eye to make them ignore cover as well. Could have helped out a lot.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bunch of ways you could go with it. There's definitely a combination I want to do with Priests and Grey Knights to make them absolutely amazing. But yeah, certainly I've been testing out a lot. Space Marines, Librarian did really good for the army. The Land Raider did really good for the army, but the Scouts didn't do too well, and the Terminators didn't do well. So I guess more experimentation for me.
Definitely, maybe try out that Librarius Conclave, and if you're going to be running a gun line, I think that's going to be very useful with Ignore's cover or Twin Linked, and combine that with your Canticles and your Doctrines. It's going to be very interesting.
It'll be brutal.
Indeed.
And I'm looking forward to doing it. So.
Indeed. Well, thanks very much for Phil for coming around and playing the game. I hope you have enjoyed it, and yeah, hopefully we'll see this Shadow Seer come back soon. Get more Mirror of Minds.
No.
There we go then, folks. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. So with that, it looks as though Starbane and Skythorn are going to rule this planet, driving the Imperium from it. Who knows what they're going to do in the remains of this city? Is there going to be more creatures built? More plundering? Stay tuned and we'll find out.